Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast. Today we're going to talk about things that you probably don't know much about, like I don't, like a spendthrift trust. We're going to learn all about different trusts and why you might want to consider these type of trusts to defer capital gains, for protection, asset protection, for anonymity. Yeah, there we go. Tongue twister. Anonymity. But anyways, we're going to talk about why you might want to trust and the process of setting up these trusts and all the good stuff, because our guest today a few years back discovered these, and it sounds like you discovered these out of a necessity when you had a property that you were flipping, it sounds like, and then you went down the rabbit hole and discovered all this, the Spendthrift Trust. Now, I was telling you before we went live, okay, I was just checking that we're recording, and we are, yeah, it's early for me, so anyway, but yes, I do have a personal property trust. I haven't really used it that much, but I always thought it would be good to set up and figuring out, because you can make that trust, the manager of your LLC. There's a lot of things you can do. And so I've kind of discovered some of this, but I think this conversation today will be amazing. So please welcome Sally to the show. Sally is a real estate investor. She runs a real estate group called Win-Win Women TV. And in July 2020, she bought a bank-owned property for $20,000. Wow, that's a good price. I love cheap houses. And she flipped it for $50,000 or something like that. And she wanted to figure out how she could keep more of that profit. And that's when she went down the rabbit hole. And we're going to talk all about these trusts and why you might open your mind to these trusts. So, Sally, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Beau. I appreciate it, because what I'm going to teach you now, a lot of people don't want regular people to know about it. And my whole thing is, if I can save capital gains, interest income, rental rolls, everybody else should. And, the more people who know, or you tell a family member, the better off it will be.
Okay, so let's dive into this. This will be a great conversation, because I have, whenever I'm interested in something, I have good questions to ask, because I'm thinking about it as an investor too. Mm-hmm. So one thing that so if I buy a property, and if it's cash, it's easy because I don't have to get a bank loan. The bank doesn't have to prove my trust. But sometimes trusts are these type of trusts may be hard to get financed in the name of this trust. You can obviously move later. But so you bought this property using cash, and did you buy it originally in your name and then you transferred it into a trust?
Actually, I bought it with my LLC. It was in my real estate group, it was the deal of the week. 3 other people couldn't come up with the $20,000. I had just closed, I had just wholesaled a note. So I had the money. I had it in my LLC. It was bank-owned property. My name was not going to go onto the property until it went to auction when COVID restrictions got lifted. So I had some time. My background, I'm a paralegal doing research. In my real estate group, there's a gentleman named Garrett Gunderson who wrote a book called What the Rockefellers Do. Had changed its title, but it's now called What Billionaires Do. I had read the book before I joined my real estate group. He's one of the reasons I joined. And he talked about the Rockefellers. They call it The Office. It's 7 generations old, 7 generations going. There's over 400 people in it. And I started researching that and finding things. And I found a law firm that I now work on behalf, that they have they have several different trusts, either business trust for 1099 income or the beneficial trust for the investors. I don't care if it's capital gains, if it's interest income, if it's rental rolls, if it's royalties, I'm forgetting one, capital gains, interest income, dividend income. So, I've got Forex traders, I've got NFT artists, I got all kinds of people who are my clients trying to save federal taxes as easy as possible.
Got it. Okay, so let's dive into this. All right, so let's just say my one business, I'm in finance, I do loans, okay, and I'm 1099 on that income. So I set up a spendthrift trust, okay, and then all my 1099s get 1099 to this, I'm going to call it an entity. Can we call a trust an entity?
An entity, yes. Okay. Spendthrift makes it an entity, yes.
Okay, so it's an entity, and this entity has its it has an EIN number, just like an LLC might have an EIN. So I get that through the IRS. So the 1099 goes and I use that EIN number that we create from the IRS, and I get this $100,000 of income this year, a 1099 to this entity. Okay, this Spendthrift Trust.
Hi, this is Beau, host of the Investor Financing Podcast. Are you a real estate investor with properties and you're trying to figure out how to refinance or grow your existing real estate business? Need some clarity and a game plan for moving forward? I'm offering a free strategy call where we dive deep on your real estate investing goals. I'll help you come up with a strategic finance plan that will help you get to where you want to go. Whether you've got a portfolio of 30 properties or you're starting out with your first property, I have a framework that has helped many investors grow. If you're interested, book a call below in the Calendly link.
What's the difference now? Like, can I draw the money out, or if I draw it out, I have to pay on it? How does this all work in theory?
If you don't mind, let me give you the full title for both trusts.
Okay.
It's irrevocable, complex, discretionary, non-grantor, spendthrift trust. So irrevocable goes generation to generation. Complex, it can hold money from day to day, month to month, year to year. 97% of the trusts out there, my parents had this, that the trust, my dad died in November 2021. When I do his taxes for 2022, that trust is done with, and that all the money in the trust has to be divided to my two brothers and I equally. I get one more share of their stock, so that's a good thing. That's irrevocable, complex, discretionary. Whoever's a trustee can make the rules. Non-grantor, this makes it 100% private. And then the spendthrift, it's actually in the IRS tax code. So if someone wants to go to read the tax code, it's 643B, like boy, that they can look this up. It has gone in front of the Supreme Court twice. Both times the Supreme Court has gone in favor of the Spendthrift Trust. It's its own entity, can enter its own contracts, keeps your information 100% private. So what's wrong with most of the trusts out there in the United States, 97% of them, are only to avoid going to court or probate when someone passes away. These trusts will save you three ways. Federal taxes, keep your information 100% private, and then if you do get sued, I hope you don't, but there's no money in your name. A famous quote by Nelson Rockefeller, own nothing, control everything, so you don't have to pay any judgment from the suit. As soon as a judge sees it, they'll throw out the case for you.
That's pretty awesome. I'm glad you kind of quoted like some case law. I guess that's always a thing. Like when I didn't know who you were and I was researching you before you came on the show, I'm always like, who's this person? Like, and where am I getting the information from? Because I think it's very important. And everybody that's going to watch this in the future, do your research. Okay, this is not
exactly.
We're not giving you legal advice. This is education for this sport. But Sally seems to know that all the codes, and she's a paralegal. That just strengthens the case, right? And you work for a law firm, it sounds like. So, and obviously those attorneys have vetted all this as well and have their opinions and so forth. Now, I know with these land trusts and personal property trusts, people always say, well, there's no case law in certain states. Is like, what's the difference really between this spendthrift trust and a personal property trust or a land trust?
The main difference between this trust and everything else, it is in the IRS tax code. So it's federal law. With what you do with LLCs, S corps, and C corps, that's statutory law based on the state. So I do have an LLC in Arizona. I have to file paperwork. I'm living in North Carolina. If I want to bring it over here, I have to do state law. With the Spendthrift Trust, when you do file your taxes, you're filing a 1041 tax return. The majority of people file 1040 tax returns. So it is a different tax return. And this is how you can defer the capital gains, the interest income, the dividend income, the rental rolls, and the royalties forever. I mean, it's amazing how much money you can save year after year doing this.
So when I file this, okay, let's kind of unpack this a little bit. So this is real world right now. I'm about to potentially buy this property. It's a 3-unit property. It's a duplex with a detached single family on one parcel.
Okay.
And the tough part is that if I go get a non-QM or what we call a DSCR loan, but that they're going to want me to do it in an entity that they approve. I don't know if they'll probably take issue with it. My guess is a spendthrift because they don't understand it. But I could always, let's just say I was paying cash or getting a private lender that didn't care. This spendthrift trust could hold title.
Correct. Correct. Usually what I do here in North Carolina, just to let you know, I'm crazy rule in North Carolina. If you go to an auction anywhere in the country and you win the house, so congratulations, Beau, you won the house for $10,000, you think it's your house. North Carolina, it's not your house. There are 101 counties, and depending on which county you're in, it's either 10 business days or 10 calendar days. I have to walk in person, and I pay $10,750. That's called the upset bid, and I can win that house. I file all the paperwork as a spendthrift trust. I use the EIN number, just as if you were doing this against me in North Carolina. You're using your LLC and using your EIN number with the LLC. I've had no problems with it, other than when I sign the check, I do have to sign my name, and I go TT for a trustee on the trust. That's the only difference. Signing a check or signing a paperwork or anything like that. Not a big deal.
All right. Now, that's great. So if I'm using private money that they don't really care about the vesting versus like these non-QM DSCR lenders where they're not educated in this space. So let's just I'm going to probably try to get my aunt to lend me this money, so she's going to be the mortgage holder of, so I set up a spendthrift trust. Have you had any pushback from the escrow and title companies to get title insurance or anything like that? No problem.
When I bought the bank-owned house back in July of 2020, I didn't start the trust until November of 2020. The attorney's in Raleigh. I'm in Phoenix. The only thing I had to do was 2 bill of sales. First bill of sale, let's say November 1st, 2020, from my LLC. I sell 1011 Hayman Avenue to myself for $1. Second bill of sale, November 1st, 1101 Hayman Avenue. I sell from myself to the trust for $1. Got both of them notarized at a bank in Phoenix. I scanned them and sent them to the attorney in Raleigh. Only thing he asked me for is the first page of the trust. He just changed the paperwork. It was, let's say it took me a half an hour to type them up, go to the bank, get them notarized, and scan them. That it was very easy to do. Now I just do everything through the trust. I have both a business trust and a beneficial trust. So I do everything in the trust. North Carolina has no idea I'm in the state of North Carolina right now as an individual, if that makes sense.
Okay. And so I know with like these land trusts and stuff, everybody says, oh, get a third-party trustee. And I felt that kind of a pain in the rear end. So on my personal property trust, I don't know if this is the best way of doing it. I just made one of my corporations the trustee. What's kind of the thought process on a spendthrift, like how we set this up?
Mm-hmm. The one thing about spendthrift trust that's very different, it cannot hold any LLC or S Corp or C Corp. So I have clients who keep some of their LLCs if they have business credit or like zero line of credits and things like that. I personally, I still have my LLC that holds my self-directed IRAs in Arizona, and then I also have an insurance license. The insurance company I work for will not pay the trust directly. So the LLC in Arizona, the business trust owns it 90%. So let's say you were talking about making $10,000. Congratulations. $9,000 comes right into the business trust tax-free. So the state of Arizona thinks I'm only making $10,000. Every year when I file my state taxes, I make so little money in Arizona, I could be on what they call Access or their Medicaid program because they think I'm so poor. I decline it, but it's something I could do with that.
Okay, so go ahead, sorry.
I was going to go, let's go back to your threeplex you're looking at. Do you know how much you're looking at for a rental income on that threeplex?
Yeah, it's going to be probably $1,800 in gross rental income.
Okay. Now, with what's happening currently on the federal level, just to give you an idea, for rental income, it's taxed between 10% to 37% on your tax bracket. So if it's, I'm going to get my little calculator out because I don't want to give you bad numbers. But if we're looking at this and 10% is easy enough, it'd be $1,800. So $1,800 times 0.24 in the middle. Oops, I have to times it by 12. That would help. 18 times 12. So you're going to make $21,600. Congratulations. That's going to pay for the mortgage, won't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Times 24. Come on. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Don't you love when you're live and you're doing things bad?
Oh, this is the way. Yeah, you can never do it when the pressure's on.
So times 0.24. So if you're at 24%, and if this is the only property you have, you could save about $5,184 a year on the rental income. If you're at 37%, do you have any idea what your personal tax rate is right now?
Well, I don't. I have a lot of. I'm an exception because I have a lot of different entities and like I run losses. So I don't necessarily have any taxable income. I have losses this year.
Okay, perfect. So
yeah, if I was a W-2 employee, actually I do have a little W-2, I should say. I have all this different income coming in, which is good. But at the end of the day, I lose money somehow on paper.
Everything you do, depreciation, you fixed up the property, you're still taking all the deductibles in the trust, just like you do with your LLC. But the neat thing is, you can also save, at 37%, we're talking almost $8,000 saving that way. But, why?
Yeah, let's just say I was a normal person and I had W-2 income. I had no write-offs except this rental property. So I grossed $18,000 in rent, I had, let's say I had $10,000 in expenses, right? So my gain is $8,000 for the year, right? Of rent gain, plus that I can factor depreciation. But anyway, so it's like $6,000. So typically I would pay tax on that money because it's a spendthrift trust. Even if I draw that money out, there's no taxable equation on a 1041 tax return.
Correct. Just with the beneficial trusts for all the investors, the three things it does not cover, just to let you know, are food, fun, and fashion. So to give you an idea, when I bought my car, I changed the title from Arizona to North Carolina. I took my trust book to the DMV, and the trust owns my car. So the trust pays for, I failed inspection, I had to get a new windshield. The trust paid for it. The trust pays for the gas and everything else. If I didn't have any other money or any other real estate involved, I could take, it's nothing special, it's a 2015 Nissan Altima. Blue Book value, when I put in the trust, said it was $12,000. I can do a demand letter up to $12,000 against my car to pay for my food, fun, and fashion. So when you see me at Walmart, I have a business trust that has a blue debit card, and I have the beneficial trust that has a red debit card. And I'm figuring out which one am I using for food, fun, and fashion, and which one am I, to get an oil change at Walmart, I use the blue one. To buy food at Walmart, I use the red one. It's kind of funny, but I joke with myself doing that.
Okay, so there's a business and a beneficial trust you have kind of set up together. And can you explain the difference again? It kind of went over my head.
The business trust is for 1099 income. Okay. So my brother has a brewery. I have 3 online businesses that I make 1099 income with. That's all 1099. A real estate agent would have a business trust. Someone selling affiliate marketing or MLM would be business trust. The beneficial trust is for real estate investors, crypto miner, stock market investors, Forex investors, day traders, people like that. The reason the law firm separates them, because some people need one, some people need the other. Very few. I have some clients who have both. In my family, we have both. My brother has a brewery. I have online businesses. My sister-in-law has the landscape design company. We're all in the one trust together, same EIN, but we have all separate bank accounts. I don't know what they do. They don't know what I do. With the beneficial trust, I gave silver coins to everybody in my family for Christmas, so now they have a stake in the beneficial trust. Other than that, nobody else is doing real estate or anything like that in my family but me.
Got it. And then for like tax purposes, the reason you'd have the beneficial, because that's more passive gains versus like active income from the business.
Exactly. So passive income, One of my clients who I just talked to yesterday, she talks about having passive income. They're paying her, she's in a REIT, real estate investment trust. They're paying her interest income. And so again, interest income, dividend income, and rental rolls are taxed between 10% to 37% on your tax bracket. She's saving all that money because she's a passive investor. She doesn't own anything. She's just putting the money into apartment buildings around the country.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about all the stuff I'm doing, right? Like, how do I separate it? Like, doing like,
You're asking great questions. I hope your audience is learning from this.
yeah, because I have, like, I'm going in on a deal. Actually, my wife is, because I couldn't, because I was arranged the financing for it. So she's going to be she's putting up the 50 grand, not me, into this deal. And I removed myself from the LLC, and I made her the new manager and only, sole member, managing member. But now, like, this would be like having these set up would be a lot more fluid. I mean, just to different deal structures. So I could potentially have a couple different beneficial trusts, but like for different things, or you really...
Quite honestly, I would tell you just have one, and then you can do all your business in the trust. So in your situation, it's going to be dependent on the two of you. Are both of you trustees, or are you just the trustee and she's the beneficiary? And then, how you're working things together, you're in charge of that. Honestly, you would only need one beneficial trust and one business trust, or have both of them working together, like I have right now. You don't have to have multi LLCs or S corps or anything else. Like I don't know if that's what you're doing, but I shut down 6 LLCs when I started my trust. I got to say filing my K1s. March 15th? All of that, all the property that I had on my K1s are now in my trust, and I do notes, so people pay me, it's considered interest income, that gets all taken off on my taxes. I'm sorry, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love my taxes.
So your 1098 interest statement is paid to your business trust?
To pay to my beneficial trust, correct. My beneficial.
Oh, beneficial, because that's passive. It's not classified on the business or 1099 income. That's why it's beneficial. And so then... but that income shows on your 1041, that interest income, right? On your 1041 tax return?
It will show, and because of the Spendthrift trust, it will not be done that way. When you start the trust, you have an entire team behind you. One of the things you have is a retainer. Let's say you're going to start the trust now, and for 2023, you'll have a retainer with a CPA who understands the trust. If you want to keep your CPA, they'll train your CPA how to do this, and you'll do all the taxes for you. I did my 2021 taxes with the CPAs who know the trust. This year, I just stayed there. I'll be honest, I paid $660 to do my taxes. It's not much. Everything's taken care of. They sent me an email saying sign here, and I'm like, I'm happy. It was easy for me.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of entities, and I like the entities because I have all these lines of credit, and I don't necessarily want to close those down. I'm just trying to think how I would.
Correct. And now that's going to be a personal choice for you to decide, how you do it, because I'm not going to tell you, hey, close out the 0% credit card you have for 9 months. I mean, you worked hard to get that.
Yeah. No, you're right. But I do see long term, like when I don't really need the business credit anymore. I just have like a couple $100,000 of available credit, and that's always good to have. So right now, but I want to see, like, I want to learn the system better, right? And so, do I have any annual fees on these trusts?
No. To be honest, one trust is $20,500. Both trusts together, if you got business and beneficial, it'd be $37,000. That's all you pay for. The law firm who have trust attorneys, it's a private law firm. If you have a situation and you need to talk to them, there would be a charge for that. They're on retainer for you. With the CPAs, you have the first year you file your 1041, they're there to do it for you for free. After that, you do pay them. I just paid for my 2022 taxes $660. I thought that was very reasonable. I won't tell you what my tax bill was. Well, my K1s for 6K K1s, they were $300 a piece. So just think of that. 6 times 3 is 1,800 just right there. So I'm saving money up doing that.
Right. And it's still kind of mind-boggling, this whole process. Where do you have like resources where people could find, you have on your, the trustisyou.com?
The Trust Is You is a squeeze page. I do have the Spendthrift Trust Is You that's getting built right now. My whole goal is to last night I do a Monday night Q&A, and one of the gentlemen on there, no offense to him, he was an engineer. He's like, I want the case law. I'm like, I sent him an email this morning. Here's all the case law. Everybody else is like, just send me an application. I don't care, things like that. So I am setting that up. But if someone needs case law, something to read about, a good book is the Scott case law that discusses the entire Spendthrift Trust. I have articles from Forbes that talks about why you should have a Spendthrift Trust, third party, the testimonials. I can set that out. I want people to write decision for those out. Tell people, usually when you're making $50,000 in a profit, just to give you an idea, if you are a fix and flipper or you wholesale or rental income, that's going to be about for short-term capital gains, that's $13,900 a year. It starts adding up. One of my guys who's starting, he's going to sell his house March 30th. He started the trust. He won't have to pay for it until he gets paid on the house, but he does 5 fix and flips a year. It starts adding up quite a bit of money for him to be saving on it.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so how much does it cost to set up with the law firm you work with?
Mm-hmm. It's $20,500 for one trust. So if you want the beneficial trust, or if you want the business trust, or if you want both trusts, it's $37,000. If, let's say you start with one trust today and 9 months later, you're like, hey, I need the other trust, it would still be honored that way, if that makes sense.
And what do they prepare on this trust? It's just all like kind of boilerplate type of, how do they,
They ask for 2 weeks. I did have a gentleman last month, February, he contacted me on a Friday, and he was selling his house on Monday. We really scrambled for it. We got him all the information. He didn't get his trust booklet until 2 weeks later. So they do ask for like 2 weeks to turn around. I hate to say it. Your trust, the only thing different is your name for your trust than my name, but we have the same paperwork in the trust booklet.
So if somebody has a huge taxable consequence, they could transfer it into this trust before they sell the property and then take advantage of it. So if they were going to have, let's just say, $100,000 tax consequence, if they went one way, they could use this. And excuse me, my nose is running.
It's allergy time.
You know what? I must have allergies today. I was just sneezing. It's like, it's terrible. But anyway, so they can basically, you set up the trust. They could be an escrow to sell and have it set up, and then like they could legitimately like get this set up. Have a conversation with the CPA to say, hey, well, I'm going to save 50 grand. So this 20 grand to pay for the trust is nothing because it's a one-time fee.
Exactly.
Exactly.
For a client of mine, I'm on TikTok. It's called Spendthrift Trust. One of his sons, he saw my video. His dad sold the family restaurant March 15th. All the equipment, all the food, all the recipes, everything else for $3 million. I talked to him before Christmas. We had talked to his business broker. The business broker had to change the name on the contracts. He sold it for $3 million because he has a trust at 15% long-term capital gains. He saved him either $450,000 or $600,000. His wife called me last Wednesday in tears going, do you know what $450,000 means to me? I'm like, sure. I know what $450 means to me. And that this is why I have a contract with the second largest business broker out there where they suggest it and then they send the client to me because some of these people selling things, it's just amazing. My second week on TikTok, true story, a guy got on my Zoom Monday night, used his TikTok handle, MB, a bunch of numbers after him. He's like, put the contract into the chat on the Zoom. He was he told me he was selling a building. I didn't know what building he was selling or anything else. On Thursday, the law firm calls me and like, is Michael so-and-so your client? I'm like, I guess. I don't know his name. He sold 2 warehouses on Long Beach Port for $6 million. He either saved $900,000 or he saved over $130,000, over $1,300,000. It saves a ton of money for people and leaves a legacy for generations after generations, if that makes sense.
So instead of doing a 1031 exchange at having to, you could do something like this. And
exactly. So 1031 exchange, if you're following the rules of 1031, it's like property for like property.
right.
It's the crazy timeline where you have 45 days to find a third party to handle it, and then 160 days. One of my clients, he's 78, she's 76. They were trying to do this down in Tampa, Florida. She was having a hard time trying to find the real estate, within the timeline. She's a realtor. They bought the house at an auction for $300,000. They put $100,000 of work into it. They sold it for $1.2 million. She's now in a REIT. They've sold all their other real estate. They're putting it all on a REIT. And she's like, I'm on my back porch drinking my mimosas right now. And we laugh about that. After they bought the trust, I found out her husband, who's a retired pilot, has 2 one-engine planes that he rents out to a flight school. They're in the trust because if someone has an accident or something with it, they can't be sued for that. So, I mean, I'll use the first name for Vera. She was scrambling to figure out, find the property, and she wasn't finding what she needed within the price range she needed. And she's like, this is so easy to do. She sent me 3 more of her clients, and they're all selling the real estate, just wanting to do something simple, passive investing instead of having renters who are complaining and things like that. And I'm happy to help with that.
So let's just say this Pennsylvania property is my trust owns it. I'm the TT. What is the TT again? The trustee.
A trustee of the trust. That's all yeah. So I signed my name, Sally Gimon, TT. That's all I have to do.
Okay, I'm the trustee of the trust. Somebody gets hurt on the property, sues the trust. Okay. How do they get inside? And this trust also owns other property and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where's
what's going to happen?
Yeah.
True story. In my real estate group, last year we have our nationals and end of the month. I'm sitting next to Patrick. He's in Chicago. He's really upset because he has 100 doors in Chicago. The mailman got bitten by one of his renters. The attorney in Chicago wasn't too smart. He only found 4 of the houses. He got $100,000 from each one of the houses, $400,000 because he got bitten by a dog. So Patrick got the trust over the summer. Those huge RVs that the $500,000, $250,000 RVs. He couldn't slow down for traffic. He hit the car in front of him that hit the car in front of her. No one was injured, thank God. She jumps out. She sees this expensive RV. She's like, I'm going to sue you for everything you have. The trust owns the RV. The trust is paying for the RV insurance or the car insurance. They fixed the 2 cars, but she had no idea he now has 114 doors in Chicago because she couldn't find that information because it's all private. Patrick's like, okay, my RV insurance might go up, but who cares? The trust pays for it. They didn't come after all my other properties and everything else.
Well, you could look up the name of the trust and find other assets. So wouldn't you want to rename? Wouldn't you want to have several? I'm just wondering.
Nope. I've moved 4 times since I started the trust. I was living with my dad until he passed away. When we started the trust, they know it's based in Texas. That's where the law firm is. If someone says, "Hey, this is such and such Spendthrift Trust," they call the law firm. They will not confirm or deny what's there, and they won't confirm or deny what's in the trust. It's completely private. If you have an LLC, you can do a freedom of information letter and find out all the information on your LLC, and it's beautiful that way. I've had several clients who are avoiding lawsuits, because something happened. There's insurance, that you're going to have the insurance on the property. They'll pay for what's wrong, but they won't go after everything else.
Yeah. Well, in theory, they could if they knew about it, but they're going to have a very difficult time. Okay, very good. Well, this is very interesting. Like, I never really knew anything about spendthrifts. I knew about land trusts. I knew about personal property trusts, but this seems like it's just a better vehicle. So I am definitely going to research more. And
If you need me to send you any information, I'll send you the 2 articles from Forbes. I'll send you a Q&A. One of the things, when I was doing my research, I'm going to get thrown under the bus for this one. I'm going to throw him under the bus. Grant Cardone, the guru,
Yeah.
he's on record that he says he doesn't want people to know about this because let's say you're looking at the Pennsylvania deal and it's only 6%. You're going to wholesale it. And you're like, it's a little bit skinny. Do I want to do this? He can swoop in, take that 6%, save the 23.8% and almost make 30% rate of return on that a wholesale deal because he has the trust. And he's like, why would I want others to know about this? And he's the reason I'm getting on podcasts. He's the reason I do my Monday night videos because I do want the average person joining my real estate group right now is a 54-year-old man trying to save money for retirement. They should get the same breaks that everybody else gets. The Grant Cardones, the U.S. presidents, the Rockefellers. We should know the same information that they know, but it's being kept from us, unfortunately.
Well, very good, Sally. We could go on and on. This is awesome. I'm definitely have you back.
I went down the rabbit hole. You can tell.
No, this is what I wanted. So we'll have you back again, and we'll kind of unpack it when I send me those articles too, so I can learn a little bit more. Then we'll get into more deeper rabbit holes. But I really appreciate it. And you guys can go to thetrustisyou.com. Is that the best place to send people? Thetrustisyou.com. Sally, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, Beau.
See you on the next episode.
Hey guys, Beau Eckstein here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.